Oh, hey there, everybody. Welcome back to another Around 30 Minutes. And today I always have a special guest, and I really appreciate this man to take time out of his busy schedule. I got Paik4life Reviews. How you doing?
How's it going? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you very much for coming on. I really appreciate it. It's an honor to finally meet you. I met you a little bit. I don't think I met you at Skullfest, but I did see you at Skullfest. I don't think we really talked or anything like that.
Yeah, there are a lot of people at Skullfest, so
It is. It's a lot of just people packed into that little basement and everything. Well, it's not little, but that basement and everything. So it's pretty cool. So, all right. Well, basically, anybody don't know, this is like a little get to know people out in the community. The fans and all this stuff and all that good stuff. So, basically, I'll just ask you some questions. Nothing too bad. Hopefully you can answer these really good. So, what is it? Everybody knows that you are a Transformer reviewer. So, what is it you collect? Do you collect other things other than Transformers?
yeah, mostly Transformers. That really had started my adult kid collection. Mostly Masterpiece Transformers. That's how I got started with the Hasbro. I think it was Soundwave, the MP Soundwave. I just happened across it at Toys R Us one time, and I said I needed to get this, so I grabbed it, and then that's where it all went downhill. But I do collect some other stuff. I do collect Dragon Ball figure arts, some other figure arts. What else do I have? Some super robots, mostly like Mazinga and Voltron. But
Okay.
by and large, I'm a masterpiece collector.
So in bulk, mostly your collection is in Transformers, probably like 89% of your collection.
Yeah, it's probably like 95% of my collection. I mean, I collect a little bit of Legos too. Nothing crazy though. Legos are too wild for me.
I try to get my wife to every time I tell this story that we, where we go look at Walmart or Target, Legos are right around the Transformers section, and I always
Mhm.
try to get her to, do you want to get some Legos and build them and everything? But she's like, no, it'll just, where are you gonna put them? It adds up, especially those
Yeah.
big ones. They could, take up a lot of space and everything. So, you know, that's cool. All right, so. When did you start collecting, and do you think that you will ever stop collecting? Like, have you always collected, things in your lifetime, as a kid and everything?
No, not really. I mean, I guess I did. The only stuff I remember really collecting pretty hard as a kid were Power Ranger toys, like the
Okay.
original series. Was a big, Green Ranger fan. Tommy for life.
Yeah.
The White Ranger. So I collected a lot of that, and right around the time I started collecting Transformers, I went back to my parents' house and saw all these Power Ranger toys. I'm like, I'm gonna sell these because they're going for crazy money, and I can fuel my new addiction with this money. So
Nice. So you started. So did you was a. So you were around the '90s. So you started. Did you ever collect like turtles? I guess turtles were late '80s,
yeah,
early
I mean,
'90s.
I was a little bit younger, so I mean, I was a spoiled kid. So my parents got me everything. I mean, they got me Transformers, they got me GI Joe, they
Mm,
got me Ninja Turtles, they got me all sorts of stuff. He-Man,
yeah.
and I was the only child, so they got me everything I wanted basically. But really, as far as like collecting, like meaningful collecting, where I was actually buying to actually collect it, it was
Mhm.
Power Rangers. So I'm an early '80s kid, born in '82. So it
Okay.
wasn't until the '90s where I was old enough where I would appreciate it. I kept all my toys in the styrofoam box, um, kept it in the closet away from sunlight.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's probably when I started. Not everything before that was just a kid playing with
Yeah.
toys.
Exactly. Yeah. So do you see yourself ever stop collecting?
I mean, there's got to be an end to everything, right?
Yeah.
At some point, it's either going to be me saying this is just ridiculous, or my wife saying this is ridiculous and making me sell everything.
Exactly. And I'll get to what that. There's a question about that. I'll get that to in a little bit. But so, who is your favorite character in Transformers, and why is that your favorite character?
It's pretty lame. I mean, I'm a big Optimus fan, like most people, I think.
Hmm.
I have like 3 or 4 on my desk right now, and I usually don't keep Transformers on my desk. Um, but yeah, I think just that iconic um, big red semi, the classic hero. I've always been one of those like people that gravitate to mostly the main character in
Hmm.
most things I enjoy watching or collecting. So yeah, Optimus Prime. If I were to pick maybe a secondary character. Who would it be? I kind of have a love for Skyfire, just because I remember having Jetfire and being disappointed that Jetfire didn't look like Skyfire. So, so when we finally got actual Skyfire toys, I feel like I have to collect that. And then Dinobots. Dinobots are pretty big in my collection as well. But yeah, those are probably the. I think a lot of people would probably share that. I'm not really unique in that respect.
So what's your favorite version of Optimus Prime? Probably G1, more likely.
Oh yeah, G1. I really like G1. I started watching Prime like way after it finished, and I really enjoyed that. I was a big Beast Wars fan as well. So, but I'm definitely a truck, not monkey guy. So
yeah,
if I had to pick one, it would be old school G1 Optimus, and he was like my first Transformer toy, like most kids, I think. So that's probably where it hits the nostalgia feels.
What do you think about Michael Bay's version of Optimus Prime?
So I mean, the first movie I was blown away. I think Michael Bay gets like a bad rap now because when he pumps out the sequels, they're definitely not to the level. Maybe it was just again finally getting Transformers on the big screen, and maybe if I were to watch it again, it's not that great. But I remember really enjoying that. And while I understand why he went with that kind of design. I never really loved it in the movies. But the toys, I've actually really enjoyed the designs as toys, especially with the third-party stuff that they're doing that is really accurate. Yeah, so I have like I said, I have a bunch of this on my. I really love this Unique Toys Challenger. I like the movie Masterpiece ones. I'll be collecting the new Bumblebee movie Prime. Yeah, so in terms of engineering and design, I think they're really interesting in just the toy form, much more than they are in the movie screen form for me.
Are you into the Studio series? Are you gonna get that one?
Yeah, I'm not really collecting the Studio series all that much, but I'm picking and choosing the ones that I think are really cool, like the Grimlock, the Blackout. As far as like Voiders, I think I'll probably only get like that Prime, and then I kind of want to see the what do they call it? The hoodie Megatron.
Oh, the potato sack.
Potato sack. I think that looked actually cool. I saw an early review of that from a Chinese reviewer do that, and I thought it looked really cool. So I'll probably grab that. If not those, I'll probably grab a third-party version of it once it comes out.
I like that version of Megatron too. I'm looking forward to that one, but I wish they would have went cloth because it just looks like dry leaves or something. It just looks. But I've got the Studio series. I just did a review for the Sideswipe, and it is beautiful. So much paint. The car mode, all silver is paint.
I just saw that at Walmart like yesterday, along with the World War II Bumblebee and that wave, and I was like, do I really want this? And I almost picked up Sideswipe, and I was like, no, I'm gonna put it down.
If you could pick one, he's one of my favorites. I would check out Sideswipe. He's really good. He's really nice. He's got a little small, but he's kind of small too. But that B one was kind of meh. The tank one, the World War II one, I didn't like that one.
Yeah, I guess the other reason is that I don't really remember him as a character in the movies.
Yeah, so, it was 2 minutes. It was like he had a 2-minute scene. They were fighting.
And he gets. I mean, so I'm like,
he has no connection. No draw to people. Like people would be like, I don't even know what he's in. It's like, yeah, he was in there for like 2 minutes. They're like, oh, that's why I don't know who they are.
Yeah. So I mean, if I were to get him, I'll probably get in the MPM line because I am collecting that line.
Yeah.
As to my dismay.
Yeah, the Megatron and that Jazz look really good. I think that's a pretty good one.
Yeah, they look good, but they're pretty. The Jazz is more expensive than I was expecting. But yeah, like Ironhide. Oh my gosh, that was a super disappointment.
Yeah, I don't like that. I never liked the design of of Ironhide in the movies anyway. It's just stuff got in the way of each other. His arms and those big old shoulders and
yeah.
Not a fan of it. So
he had that weird he had I don't know like a weird lion kind of face. He had this kind of weird cheeks. It didn't make sense to me.
Kind of like a dog face or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that's cool. So How long? So everybody knows you've been doing reviews. How long have you been doing reviews, and what got you into doing it?
Oh, geez, I don't even remember. I think it's been like a little over 3 years, maybe 4 years. I would have to go back and check.
Okay.
And I've told the story before, but really I got into it just by happenstance. I was collecting all these Grimlocks now that I was like getting deep into collecting. And the new Hasbro series of Grimlocks came out in the box, not the weird angular one. And people were like, I wonder if it's any good, if the quality is any good. And I had the Takara one, the original Hasbro one, the new release one, and the MP8X one. So I had a bunch of them, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do a comparison review. And I think I shot it for like an hour. It ended up being like an hour-long comparison, which was ridiculous. But I just did that, and then I just started doing it just for fun here and there. And then eventually Toy Dojo asked me if I wanted to continue doing them for them, and I said, yeah, sure.
Nice. So that's really cool. I've bought some from. I recently started buying some stuff from Toy Dojo. They really cool.
Oh, everyone should. My sponsor, Toy Dojo. If I don't at least shield a little bit, I wouldn't be a reviewer, right?
So that's how you get the Iron Factory stuff real quick. Nice.
Well, that is how I get it. So Iron Factory, I do their official video manuals. So,
nice.
And that was just something that happened again by happenstance. And they were like, yeah, we want to. We don't have like a U.S. presence, so we manage, me and Eric from Madhouse. We kind of helped them on their U.S. presence with their YouTube channel and stuff like that.
Nice.
So yeah.
I love Iron Factory. Everything they put out, like I told you, I look forward to when you get the new Iron Factory stuff comes out. Like I watched your Mirage and the Megatron and everything. So how do you feel about honestly, how do you feel about Iron Factory? I know you kind of do their stuff early, but how do you really feel about Iron Factory?
Yeah, I mean, I told it out how it is. Like, people that watch my reviews probably automatically assume, but I'm always upfront with that and let them know that I get this and I do work for them. But I have no qualms telling it how it is. I mean, I've definitely put out there that some of the MMC or Ocular Max stuff is not to my liking. I say that about a lot of Iron Factory things too, like their Sideswipe mold. I've told people I'm not really a fan of that design. So yeah, overall, I think they're a great company. I think they're doing really interesting stuff because they're not sticking to a specific aesthetic. And they're trying to branch off on their own, but they're still trying to knead in the characters that a lot of people like.
Yeah.
So I think overall, I think the plastic quality is good. I think the quality is good overall. I think the designs as a whole are above average. If I were to say, as far as the legend scale, I think they're above average. I don't know if I would say they're top, but I would say in the Legends arena, they hold one of the top 2 or 3 in my book.
Gotcha. All right. So, are you a big Legends collector, or are you just
No. Well, I try not to be. Is the answer.
The rabbit hole. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're fun. They're super fun. But I don't try to go out and buy them. Okay. And luckily, Iron Factory can at least scratch that itch for me. But without me having to pay out of pocket for that. But I'm not really a Legends collector.
Okay. So have you checked out any of the Magic Square stuff yet?
Yeah. I like the Magic Square stuff. I thought they're actually really good as well. I think their plastic quality is not as good as Iron Factory as a whole, at least the ones I've tried. Yeah. But their Magic Square Prime that they showed, which looks just like their Masterpiece Prime, just shrunken down. That's probably the first Legends figure that I can think of that I'm pretty highly anticipating getting, because I thought their Masterpiece Prime was closest to my aesthetic of a G1 Prime, and to see that on a Legend scale, I'll probably end up getting that.
Oh, nice, cool.
Because I don't have a G1 Legend scale, I don't think.
The only one I have is the DX9, the Dutch, and it's, I mean, it looks fine, but it's trash. The legs don't stay on. It pops off. It's frustrating, It's just, it looks good, like if you just stand there,
Yeah.
But once you pick that thing up, my leg just pops right off. It's like I don't even have to force it; it just pops off. I'm like, ugh. TM Reviews said hi, and MP Collector. I don't know if you know, he's a really wonderful dude.
Yeah, he's one of our locals. He's a big Legends collector. I get my Legends fix through him. He comes to our Northern Virginia meetups all the time. He's a great guy, and he brought that Toy World Wheeljack that I was not expecting to be good, and that figure was really good for a Legends. I really enjoyed it. It almost made me go out and buy it. So.
Nice. I've heard some good things, but it didn't look that good. But then I've heard some really good things about it, so I may have to pick. I love Legends, but yeah, MP Collector, he's a really good. I've known him for a while and everything. He's a really good.
Yeah,
he's a
great guy.
fan of Shattercast and everything. So,
but it's not interview is not about David. Okay, well, let's get back.
I'm trying to get him on. You know, he's a busy man. He's hard. You know, he's hard to get on sometimes. So I'm trying to get him back. Try to get on here one day. So, if you could own a company, a third-party company, what would be your first release, and what scale would it be?
I would definitely. Well, okay, so it depends on how that question is really what the intent of that is. Because again, I collect Masterpiece, so obviously I would like it to be Masterpiece. But do I think that's a sound business strategy? Probably not at this point.
I'm looking at that angle. I'm looking at that. You know, like you wouldn't want to release like a Optimus Prime right now because it would kind of fail. Maybe not fail, but it would kind of be not a smart move.
Right, and I mean I think the MP market is already probably most competitive overall. So I don't think if I were to try to go for one specifically to try to make money, I wouldn't do that. I'd probably go into like more of the Voyager scale. I know that's not really like I guess that's more of a size as opposed to a scale, but kind of the Voyager size. And I don't know. I think I would try to do maybe Prime, because I think Prime is going to come back as being pretty popular pretty soon. And
the Prime line. Okay.
Yeah, the Prime line, like Transformers Prime line. I think I would probably do those designs. Right now, you see a lot of the Prime first edition toys going for like crazy money. And I think it has just enough nostalgia, but just enough departure to kind of bridge that gap between old collectors and new collectors. So I think that would be interesting. And I don't see a lot of people doing Prime right now, so that might be something I would do.
That's a good choice. I would love to see somebody do an Astro Train. I know we had the DX9 one, but I would love to see somebody do a bigger scale of Astro Train.
Oh yeah, I just sold my Astro Train because of the same feeling. I'm like, somebody's going to come out with a better one. I literally sold it last week.
You would think that, but I have not heard any news. I mean, you have the Toy World one, which was a kind of like a Voyager, like a chug scale.
Yeah.
And I think that was the only one, DX9 and the.
No, you had that. What was it? There was another one that was like Captain or something like that.
Oh yeah, I know. Did that one come with a piece of track or something?
Yeah. I don't remember, but there were definitely others.
Okay.
But yeah, none of them that were standout. DX9 was definitely the best that I messed with, and even then it was a lot of compromise. Although I was surprised. I actually, because I was taking it out of my display to put it back into the box, and even without looking at instructions, it was really intuitive. Even though I hadn't transformed it in like a year and a half, 2 years, I was still able to do it without a problem. So kudos to them for being able to design a triple changer that could still transform without instructions.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, I would love for somebody to do anything. So, all right. Another question was if you lost your collection, I don't want anything bad happen, but if you lost your collection, would you start over? Why or why not?
I think I would. I think I'd start over, but I would have a better excuse to focus this time because having experienced a lot, I can now say that I don't need as much. And I know the figures that I want in my collection and I think are really iconic. So, it's kind of like, that Netflix series, the Marie Kondo.
Brings you joy.
When I hold Toy World Devastator in my hands like a little baby, I feel joy. But looking at the rest of a lot of this collection, and they don't spark joy in my hearts.
So you would start.
Can't hold them up and store them as easily as shirts. So some of them will have to go.
Exactly. So you would start. You would start over with like a new way of collecting everything.
Yeah, just more focused and a lot more picky, because that's also the problem, right? When you're collecting, you're taking a risk a lot of times. Even if you watch reviews, like everyone has different opinions. Like some people really like certain figures, and I would get it and I'd be like, this is absolute trash, right? And I would say people would say that figures that I liked are trash. Like, for example, which one? I got a lot of heat for Voodoo Toys Salus, their MP Ratchet, and I love that. I think that figure looks awesome. And I think I compared it to the official Ironhide, because I think official Ratchet hadn't come out yet. And I was like, this figure, like, Salus is not better than Ironhide overall, but as far as aesthetics, I don't see it being even close. And I got burned so bad for that. People were like saying, "Oh, you're shilling," and all this stuff. And I'm like, I can have an opinion. You can have an opinion. It doesn't mean we have to. I don't know why people get so heated about having differing opinions.
Exactly. It's amazing. Like, I don't care, you know, with the knockoff stuff. Like, I don't collect knockoffs, but if people do, I don't, I don't make fun, or I don't, cause, want to call people names or anything, because you collect. It's what you would like, and that's what, it's gonna be different from everybody else's. So
see, I feel like this looks way better than this in terms of what I think of the Vans, right? Like blocky chests, no ass wheels. And this is not a better figure overall, for sure.
Right.
Like, the transformation is not nearly as ingenious as this, but just in terms of pure aesthetics and robot mode, which is how I think most people display their collection.
Yeah.
Like, I think this just looks way better. I don't even have I have MP Ratchet, and it's just in its box in my storage in my basement. I don't think I've ever even taken it out aside from doing a review on it.
Yeah. Well, that's fine. Like I said, it doesn't matter. As long as you're happy.
Exactly.
That's what matters. And some people just, the keyboard warriors, which they want to fight, they just want to start crap and everything. Just like, like, come on now. We are all in this for one reason: to collect toys. And if you want to fight over toys, then you've got some bigger issues.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially if you want to grab somebody that's working hard, to try to get out a review, and taking time out of his busy schedule or hers, and trying to put this out for you. And if you don't like it, that's fine. But to sit there and want to argue and fight with somebody because you like something and you don't, come on. Like,
yeah.
But whatever. That's that's something else different. So all right.
Yeah, we could talk about that forever.
So what is something that people would be surprised to know about you that nobody would usually normally know?
I don't know. Like, I think I mean, I used to be very big into games. I used to be a big Tekken player. So I used to play competitively. I went to like Tekken 4 Nationals when I was like 20. Like, I qualified.
Oh, really?
In Vegas. And I remember I was like 20, like 2 weeks from turning 21. And I was there as a 20-year-old. I couldn't gamble or anything like that. It was so depressing. Everybody else was like, nobody was there for like the tournament. Everybody was out gambling and drinking, and I couldn't do any of that. So I think most people probably wouldn't know that about me. I think the thing I find surprising about the fandom is that, when I ask people what they really do, it's always surprising to me. Like, people would probably never guess what I do. I'm always surprised when I find out what other people do. Like, when I found out what Bobby did, Bobby Skullface did, I was surprised. When I found out what PR did, I was surprised. So it's always surprising that the breadth of the fandom is so wide. You could be just a guy, making ends meet and scrounging, and you could be super rich guy who's collecting 3 of everything, like a Superion for each mode, which good for them. And seeing where they come from, and again, kind of all congregating around a similar love for Transformers. And so that, I think, it's great that there's no, like, I guess, no prejudice against who can collect Transformers in that sense.
Exactly. And that's why I'm doing this, around 30 minutes to get, I ask basically the same questions. I come up with some different ones and new ones, but I like to hear different perspectives of, of different collectors, what they think, and their favorite character and their backgrounds and everything. So that's why I'm doing this, something different than reviews. It's just to get to know people, out there in the community.
Yeah. I think people doing stuff like this is really interesting. When TM asked me, I was surprised. I'm like, why me? And then when you asked me, I was like, what? Why me? Like, what? But I like this style, right? This interview style. I even like I was doing some live stream reviews where, like, I was trying to get the designers or somebody from the team.
Nice.
So I had like Chogo King come in. He's like the box artist for all of the Ocular Max stuff. He came in randomly when I was doing an Ocular Max figure, and he was in the live stream and just chatting with people and answering questions. I was like, and people loved it, so I was like, oh, I'm going to do this more. And I did it a couple other times. I did it with 598 Robots when I did their which was it? One of their Stunticons, the first Stunticon. I did that, and he came on and he spent time sharing, his experiences, his design thoughts and stuff like that. And I think people really enjoy that, right? Because again, people don't know who these people are, and it's a lot. It's very, very easy, again, like you said, to be a keyboard warrior and be like, this was a stupid design. But then when you actually have the designer here saying, well, there were limitations this way, or this way, or that was not part of my original design, the factory changed it for X, Y, and Z reason. It gives you a little bit more perspective and appreciation for it. And so I want to do more. I actually have AK. He's the Ocular Max designer. I have him kind of queued up at some point to come in for one of their next figures that they do.
Nice.
So yeah,
that'd be interesting. Yeah, I think people, because people don't know, and then when you hear it from the horse's mouth, they're like, oh, okay. So, people don't know what's behind, what behind closed doors, whatever, what's happening, why things are being put out, and why things get changed and everything. So to hear it from them, and they're just normal people too, like us, and they just, and that's really cool. That's a great idea to have the, designers or all that stuff to come in, and while you're doing live streams and stuff.
Yeah.
So, okay, cool. So if you could have another thing, I don't want anything bad to happen to you. If you have one last meal, what would that meal be?
One last meal. I'm a big
fan. It can be anything.
I'm a big fan of duck, like Chinese roast duck. I can't have it often, but it's one of the things that I really enjoy. Oh no, that's a lie. That's a lie. I would probably, and I'm not even a fish guy, but if you've ever been to Nobu, they have this miso black cod, and it is divine. I don't like cooked fish and never grew up liking it, but I have that, and miso black cod is unreal.
Never. I don't think we don't have any of those over here in Arkansas.
Yeah, Nobu's like a really famous Japanese chef. It's super expensive when you go there, but like he has that as one of their appetizers, and it's one of his well-known, like, iconic dishes as a chef. So he has it as one of his restaurants everywhere. And yeah, if I go to one of his restaurants, whether it's New York, Vegas, I think I heard he opened one in DC recently. I always get that as an appetizer. I could just get like 4 of those as my meal. I'd be happy.
Good. Awesome, that's cool. So, are you a big cereal guy? And if you are, what is your favorite cereal?
Cereal? No, I'm actually not a big breakfast guy. I've never really been a big breakfast guy. Right now, my breakfast consists of a protein green smoothie, which is as delicious as it sounds, right?
Exactly.
A little bit healthier. But as a kid, I was disgusting. I used to eat Frosted Flakes, and I would put in a tablespoon of sugar into the Frosted Flakes, which, if you've had a Frosted Flakes at least recently, it doesn't need any more sugar.
No,
but I would put another scoop of sugar with the milk, eat it, and at the end it would be like grainy milk.
Oh yeah, I know. Dude, I bet you were off the wall. Your mom was like, "What?"
Yeah, I don't know how I convinced her that this is a thing, but I did. So
oh, it's good, Mom. It's good. Don't worry.
Yeah. All the kids do this. All the kids. Down the street does it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, well, if they jumped off a bridge, would you do that? Like, yeah, I would.
Probably. If I was eating that much sugar, yeah, I'd probably need to do that to get that energy out.
Exactly. So you are married. So what does your wife think of your collection, and what does she ever watch your reviews or anything like that?
No, not at all.
Mine either. Mine either.
I think she tries not to think of my collection as much as possible. Every time she sees a big box or a Toy Dojo box, I'm sure she's like, "Oh my gosh." Sometimes Eddie sends stuff. Eddie, the proprietor, owner of Toy Dojo, sometimes he'll send me stuff here, like a large shipment here that is not for me, but it might be for, like, I do group buys. Like not group buys, but like group orders for locals. So Eddie will send me a box of everything that the locals want, and so they save on shipping. They don't pay shipping, and they usually get a small discount or something like that. And then I distribute it at the local meetup. So like if David wanted something, MP Collector, he wanted something, he'll just message me, and I'll collect everyone's orders. And again, it just helps out the community. But when I get a big box like that, sometimes they can be pretty big. My wife will just be like, "What is this now?" I'm like, "I swear these are not all mine."
Not all mine, yeah. So is she supportive of your collecting, or is she just as long as the bills get paid, that's fine?
Oh, she never gives me a hard time about that. No, she's super understanding. She's helped me out in the past before when, again, trying to hunt for MPs at Toys R Us is super hard. And when you work a regular 9 to 5, it's hard to get out there. So she'll stop by Toys R Us and look for stuff for me if I tell her what it is or send her a photo. So she's a bit of a what is it called? What is it called when somebody helps you?
Not instigator, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, she helps me with my addiction for sure.
Yeah. So, now, does she collect anything at all?
No, she doesn't collect anything. I mean, she's I don't know. She's not that what is it? Materialistic, I would say.
My wife is, my wife's
so she's pretty frugal. I mean, aside from buying, she buys mostly stuff for the kids at this point.
Okay.
But when she gets into something, she'll definitely start buying stuff, but she's not a hardcore collector of anything of any sort.
Okay. It's called an enabler.
That's what
enabler. Yeah, enabler. Yeah, exactly. So the toy table, number one, thank you for coming in. He asked a question: can we get tips on starting our own review channel, and what both of your thoughts on whether you agree or not?
I think the number one thing, which I'm super bad about now, but I was way better at before, was consistency. And I mean, you put out a lot of content, right? And you're out there and you're collaborating. I think that's a really good way to boost your channel. And I don't do enough of that. And again, for me, it's just also been about. I think for me, my lack of consistency has been just disrupted by the other things I have going on in real life. That it's honestly not a priority for me anymore. And I'm lucky to have the luxury of not needing to run a channel. I know YouTube has been a big source of some reviewers' incomes for a long time, but then things have changed and people are not being able to do things that they're not earning the money they want. Luckily, I do it for fun, so so I don't have to rely on that. But yeah, I would say consistency and collaborations are probably two of the biggest things I would think to help you get started.
And just to go off of you, just have fun. Like you said, used to people could make money off this stuff, a lot of money. They've made careers out of it most of the time, a lot of times, and some people still do. But you're not going to at the beginning at all. I mean, it's just have fun. Because people will see that if you're doing it just as a job, people will notice that and everything. So yeah, just have fun and enjoy it. And do something that stands out. Like I do the floor time thing, and it kind of stands out. With other people and everything. So just have fun. That's all. That's the best thing I can tell you to do. Just have fun and don't treat it as a job.
Yeah, that's an excellent point, because I think at some point I was doing it so frequently that it started feeling like a job, and that's probably what kind of acted as the catalyst of me stopping being so consistent. But I think consistency cannot be overlooked, as well as, like you said, making sure you're being authentic, enjoying it. I think is a part of being authentic, right?
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of people like certain reviews, because they'll say that they think they're very authentic. Bobby's known for being the truth, and other people are known for different aspects. But I think all of those people, that what they have in common is very authentic.
Yeah, exactly. So that's about the best thing that I could tell. Yeah, like you said, when it starts becoming like a job, like you have to get I don't want to do this, then you might not want to do it anymore.
Yeah, and most of us already have a job where we probably feel kind of like that, so we don't want to do that in our free time as well.
Exactly. And he asks, are you both worried or concerned on the regular basis to get the newest items first to gather more views and beyond? Thanks all for the feedback. I mean, are you worried about getting stuff?
I don't even care anymore. I mean, I think that's the thing that turns me off the most about reviews is that if you're not first, you're basically last, and that's
Bobby, Ricky Bobby.
Yeah, exactly. Glad you caught that. But I mean, it's one of those things that you're never going to be consistently the first, just because things happen, right? And if you do that, I think again it becomes a job. Like you're doing it to somebody's schedule or like the schedule of the release, as opposed to taking the time to really authentically do it. And so for me, that's no longer not a priority for me. At least for me. So I don't know about you. I'll let you.
No, that's a good point. I don't. I mean, very rarely. Like I got the Zeta toy, the aerial bots. I got a couple of them, and I think I was one of the first. And to get those out, it's over here, not overseas. They were still doing them overseas. But I buy everything. I don't get stuff sent to me. I mean, I'm buying my stuff. Luckily I get them. I order them quick, and they get sent to me real quick. So I'm very lucky to get something that's gets out there first. But I'm not working. I just I get stuff out as soon as I can. And if it gets there, it gets there. If it don't, I don't care if I'm the first. I mean, it doesn't bother me at all. So I hope that answers your questions and everything. So let me ask this. So what do you want to see from Hasbro or third party from Transformers to keep your interest in it? Like Transformers been around for about 30 plus years. What would you like to see from them to see another 30 years?
That's a tough question. And I think what I want may not be what other people want. But I do think that what the new Bumblebee has shown is that people are being a lot more, they have higher standards for what they expect, right?
Okay.
And while Bumblebee is not a perfect movie, I would say that it had more of a storyline than the others. And if you take it in like if you just look at the story itself, it's a pretty familiar tale, right? It's basically like E.T. or any other coming of age story where you meet an alien or an outsider, right? And then all the funny moments. So it's pretty cliche, but again, at least it identifies with people. And so I would say that you need to kind of maintain that and the aspects of that for Transformers, right? When Optimus Prime comes out on screen and says, "I'll kill you all," like that doesn't feel authentic to what we remember of. Maybe you could have passed it off as Megatron, but like hearing that from your childhood hero who's all about sacrifice and
that's a good point.
Freedom is the right of all sentient beings, like that kind of thing. That doesn't seem authentic to me. And I think if you diverge too much or try to be edgy or try to cater to a specific group like that without keeping in mind what the core of the property is, you're doing yourself a disservice and you're doing the fandom a disservice. So I don't have any specifics like I want a new G1 movie. I think what we want is a little bit of what we had in the past, coupled with some originality. So I think Beast Wars was a really good example of that because it had enough similarities to what we were familiar with, but wasn't afraid to push boundaries like with Dinobot, and the evolution of that character, and then the shock and awe of bringing that back around and showing that it's in the same universe. That kind of story is really interesting. I don't want rehashing, but again, it has to have that feels to it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's not a very specific answer, but I'd be interested to hear what you think.
God, to keep 30. I mean, I would love. Okay, now I was going to ask you another question, kind of with that, and I would answer with this: if they did a whole new, like they started from scratch, whole new characters, still good versus evil, would you still would you still be interested in something like that?
I think it again. It depends on the quality of it. If it's brand new characters that I have no idea who they are, I would give them a shot, and it wouldn't be hard for me to identify with certain new characters, right? Because there are probably going to be certain archetypes, and again, I tend to have affinity for the main character, the hero character. So I probably would find a way to love that character nonetheless, even if it had no direct relationship with G1 or any of the properties I know before.
Well, and to answer, to answer that question, I would love for them to do movies straight to Netflix. I think that would be a big thing right now. Like, with Marvel and DC, they put out a lot of stuff on Blu-ray and everything and DVDs and all that stuff. I think it'd be perfect for them to put out stuff like cartoons and stuff, or live action, whatever, straight to Netflix. I think that would help the brand a lot.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of did that with like the machinima stuff, right? And
a little bit, but not like that. Well, I mean, stuff like that. But I think the machinima stuff didn't really go over. I don't think people could find them. I always on Facebook, I always find posts like, where are y'all finding this stuff?
It wasn't marketed very well, but I agree. And also, again, I watched the first season or two of it, and it wasn't. Honestly, I didn't think it was very good. But if you did something like what they did with Voltron, like people were pretty divisive on the new Voltron Netflix series, but I think overall it again had enough of what we expected, mixed in with more modern storytelling and character development, and really exploring more characters than we were able to explore, as kids. So I really enjoyed that series.
And I think that if they would put out a new cartoon that was kind of like Prime, like you mentioned, Prime was a really good cartoon. It was awesome. It's one of the better ones that come around. I think if they did something like that, and put resources. I put out a question on my channel. Like, I think the G1 reissue things are fine, and I love they're great for nostalgia, and I love walking down to Walmart or whatever, Target, and seeing them. But I think if they scratch that and put more towards like the Siege line, which I think is really good already, but they could make it a lot more better. I think they would do that, especially with the toy line, and they made a cartoon like on Siege. If they did a cartoon for Siege, I think that would be really good.
Yeah, I think one of the ways that they really need is a hard balancing act with toys as well as just the shows, is making sure that you can cater to both the new kids who are just really interested in toys and keeping the story simple and enjoyable for them, while still providing the entertainment. So I mean, the longest running two series I can think of that do actually a really good job of that are like The Simpsons. They still are pretty successful. And you might find this weird, but Sesame Street, if you've watched Sesame Street recently, it's a lot of it is very funny for adults.
Okay, nice.
Like they did like Orange is the New Black. That's a very dark, serious adult show, but they did a parody of that on Sesame Street called Orange is the New Snack, and it took place and it was hilarious if you had any familiarity with that. And my kids loved it, even though they don't know what that's about, and that's good. They don't know. I don't watch that.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I mean, if you go back and watch Sesame Street, modern Sesame Street, it is very funny and very entertaining for adults as well as kids.
Nice. That's awesome. But with the Transformer stuff, I would love the Siege line. I would love for them to go that way and like straight to Netflix, or I don't just so I think Bumblebee was a kind of like a soft reboot, but I think they just need to scratch all of that. I mean, I love where Bumblebee is going, and if this going, I love Travis Knight. I think he's really good, better than Michael Bay. He at least Travis Knight knows something about Transformers. So, and because Michael Bay didn't give a rat's ass about Transformers. I mean, he said it himself. But I think if they would scratch that and start, not doing the kid in car kind of thing anymore, start on Cybertron like the first, like Bumblebee did. I think they did a whole movie on Cybertron. I think that would get a lot of people back in, even for the G1, group, and then you got kids. Kids would love that. I think kids would love to see fighting robots on a planet like that, or Cybertron. I think that'd just be interesting for them.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would have to think about that a little bit more, but I mean, again, I understand why they do it, but I think, like you said, they've done it enough where they should experiment outside of that. Like the DC animated universe, right? Like they started with, Batman animated series and all those shows that were great both for kids, but then now they're doing, like the movies that are straight to DVD and stuff like that are more adult focused, which again tie back but have a lot more edgy themes.
Yeah,
I think they could do with Transformers now and still successful.
That's cool. That's all. Okay, cool. So all right, let's see if let's see. Got one more. I think I got two more questions for you. So if you were on Jeopardy, what would you say what would you start? I'm sorry. What would you say about your life, or what? They always ask that question. What would you say about yourself if you was on Jeopardy? How would you present yourself on Jeopardy?
So if I were on Jeopardy, I'd probably talk about like what I do for my career. I've always been interested in technology and specifically like innovation. So I mostly manage projects surrounding innovation. I actually started teaching at a university a couple weeks ago for their MBA course about innovation and innovation and creativity and that whole thing. I would probably talk about that, and then I would probably tie that into Transformers, how the industry is changing and how they've been innovative, and how I got into reviewing to try to be a little bit different and set a different view or perspective on Transformers. So something like that.
That's nice. That's a good answer. Good answer. Good response. Okay, got one more last question. I always ask this. Where do you see Paik4life Reviews in 5 years?
Oh man, if it's not totally off the face of the earth, in 5 years, I hope I'm just doing live stream reviews. I've said this before that I really enjoy them. I think, again, that they allow me to be a little bit more authentic, and I love interacting with the viewers live, answering questions. I think that's a lot more fun, and I honestly think I'm super boring when I do reviews that are pre-filmed, but it's a lot more entertaining when I'm actually talking with people and engaging, as opposed to me just talking to the microphone. And I put up a poll on my channel the other week, and I asked if people preferred my live stream, which was sadly limited to 720p, or my pre-filmed at 1080p at 60 frames per second. And it was like 90% like pre-filmed, and it broke my heart because I mean, I understand why, but it broke my heart because I really wanted to push my channel more towards that direction.
Yeah.
So if the technology could, and I'm sure it will be, catches up where I can stream 1080 or even 4K at high resolution, and it made it easy for me to interact with folks, because it's hard to do on just a small, phone screen, to see the chat and have to scroll back. And if I would like to be doing that, I'd probably, as much as possible, stay away from doing pre-film reviews.
Yeah, I heard you saying that during the Mirage one. You lost a lot, some viewers because of that. Is it just, I mean, it just won't take it or something, or I mean, what's the issue that it won't show?
I think it's the technological limitation of the YouTube app right now. So if you want to do a live stream there, it's limited to 720p. And the Megatron one I did, like, people were telling me it would look like stop motion, and I don't even see any visibility into that. They don't even tell me that the connection is low or that it's uploading low. I have to like literally stop and hear that from the chat, which is disheartening, because I don't want to cut it off and then start it again, and so it's really just a technical thing now. And
have you thought about doing it from Google Hangouts, doing it like this?
Well, again, I could do that, but I mean, I'm pretty sure that this resolution's
it's fine. It's not the best. I mean,
exactly. And I think that's what most people. I think that's the reason why that poll I put out was 90-10, right? Because people want to see the toys in as high a clarity as possible. So I mean, again, I understand why, but at some point over in the next year, I bet we'll be able to do it much better, much faster. And I think, I mean, especially with the success of like Twitch and stuff like that, live gaming, I don't see why, and YouTube's obviously moving to that space. I don't see why they wouldn't put a lot of investment in being able to do stream at higher resolutions.
TM Review said you could live stream at 1080p with a capture card. You got one for $50 and it works.
Yeah, he was saying that too. Again, that's ends up being more of a setup, and my setup, you can see in the back, is just a small setup in a small room. I would have to like move my computer or extend that there and run it off my computer.
Gotcha.
And again, that poses different challenges. I would have to then use an external camera or somehow feed my phone into there. I mean, there's a lot of things that, I mean, I could definitely do it, but at some point it's not worth the juice is not worth the squeeze, right?
Nice.
I'm not trying to have my entire home office be dedicated to shooting reviews.
Yeah. Well, I really hope you get to move, because I really like watching your live stuff. And like you said, it really, it's interesting. It's a lot better to interact with people, and talk, when they ask you questions, when you can answer questions, instead of them talking to a review, or whatever, you could talk to them and, answer their question. And I think that's very interesting.
Yeah. And again, there may be things that I overlook or people have questions about that I don't think are important, but that are important to them.
Yeah.
And the only way I can really know that now is through, if somebody leaves a comment, if they said, "Oh, I wish you had done a comparison with somebody else," or I wasn't really clear on this portion. Could you explain that in more detail? And again, that's great that we have that ability, but it's not the same as being able to gauge like this. Like if you had sent me a bunch of questions for me to it's not going to be the same as it's back in the day, right? Not as engaging, not as entertaining.
Exactly.
Not as dynamic and fun. So
cool. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, the comparison too. I get that sometimes. I wish you would have compared it to this and everything. Well, I'm sorry. I try to, because I have a huge, vast collection of Transformers. And I try to compare them as much as possible. I throw in different things once in a while just to, get a comparison to other scales and stuff and everything. So that's a good point. Good point. Well, I'm out of questions. Thank you so much. This was awesome. I had a great and wonderful time, dude. It was an awesome time, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I had a great time too. I like the interview style, the things that you guys are doing. Really fun. Obviously, talking to another person who's as
passionate
about or addicted to the things that you're in love with is always a great thing. Like I just met a new guy who I sold some of my collection to last night, and I never met him before. And it could have been just an easy handoff, right? Like, here's your money, here's your toys. But we literally just sat there talking on the street at like 10 o'clock at night, half an hour, just about nerding about kind of like the same things we were talking about now. Like, how'd you get into it? What do you collect? And saying, hey, he should come to our meetups. And I literally talked about MP Collector, saying he's the legend guy because that guy collects legends. I'm like, he's the legends guy, so you should come and get to know him. So
that's awesome. That's really cool to get somebody out there that you've never met before, and you get to interact with them, and then you invite them to your little group and everything, and that's really cool.
Yeah, can I ask you a question? Like, how are these around 30 minutes going for you? Like, do people really like being able to learn about new people in the community and so forth?
Yeah, I've gotten all positive responses, and everything. They think it's a good thing, and they're really fun and everything. I've actually had people try to put it on the listening formats, and all that stuff and everything. So because YouTube is not always easy to watch all the time and everything. But I've gotten a lot of positive feedback, and I've done a lot of I put out a lot of these all the time, and they're like, "You're gonna run out people to interview." I'm like, no, I'm not. There's always people. I can reach out to anybody. I have anybody. I don't care who you are. I'll have anybody on and just have a good time. You get to know people for about 30 minutes to an hour, something like that, and it's real fun. So I have a good time doing it. I love getting to know people, and everything, and make friends on the way and all that stuff. So it's really
fun. Who's next on your list? Who do you have lined up?
Let's see. I think I got Wind Charger. I don't know if you know who he's a reviewer.
Oh yeah.
He's over in the Philippines, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's a really good dude. I'm trying to get him on. Hung Nagao, I'm going to try to get him on. Bobby's friends. He was
he's the owner of one of the retail where he sells toys, right?
Yeah.
What is this?
215 toys. Yeah, 215 toys.
250. Yeah, yeah.
He's a really good dude. He's up in around the Philly area. I'm getting him on. Anybody else? I mean, like I said, I tell everybody after this thing, you know, if you want to get on, just slide into my DMs, and I'll be happy to get you on, and we'll do that.
Awesome.
So yeah, tell everybody where you know where they can reach you at and everything. I'm gonna put your YouTube channel in the description, all that stuff.
Yeah, you can reach me on YouTube. Paik4life. I don't even know. Paik4life Review. Paik4life Review.
You're like, I guess it's something like that.
Paik4life. I don't even know. I think my Twitter, which I'm very bad at, is Paik4life Review with no S. Facebook is super easy to get me. I think that's how you contacted me. And then on TFW, the forums, I'm there.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm pretty easy to get a hold of, and if you guys have any questions, I'm always trying to respond as soon as possible. So
yeah, you were real quick, and people requested you. That's the reason why I reached out to you. I was going to eventually get to you, but people were asking for you and everything. I was like, okay, yeah. I mean, because I watched you and the TM reviews. I watched that one. It was really good, and so I was like, I reached out to you, and you came, you responded real quick, and I really appreciate that, and it's really cool. So
well, I'm flattered that anybody would request me. It's probably TM Reviews that requested me.
No, I mean, I think the P Collector did. He told me to look you up and everything. And,
oh yeah.
I don't know if you know Extra Zero. I don't know if you ever heard of
Extra Zero.
He does a figure action podcast. I don't think you watch podcasts very much.
Yeah. I don't watch or listen to podcasts. I'm clearly older at heart than I let on.
No, he's a good dude, but yeah, there's people that that requested you and everything. So I was like, oh, I'll reach out to him and everything. So, but I would like I said, once again, thank you so much. I was honored to have you on, and you can come on anytime you want. It'd be great to have you back on.
Yeah. If you have any viewers that end up asking more questions afterwards, just send them over my way, and I'll happy to come by and comment.
Okay, cool. Will do. And I like to say once again, thank y'all very much for coming in. I really appreciate it. If it wasn't for y'all, I wouldn't be able to do this. Go down and hit that like button. It helps the channel out and all that good stuff. And I guess I'll see y'all around the next 30 minutes. And as always, Hell Hasbro, and good night, folks.
Hell Hasbro.
All right, let me